Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 35. As Shen Kao handed the drawing back to Lu Shu, a pitiful voice called out from a short distance away, "Hey, isn't anyone going to untie me? My father is the county magistrate, how dare you treat me like this?" The Yamen staff master cautiously glanced at Shen Kao. "Young Master K, now that you've found the two young ladies, could you? Who are you calling young ladies?" Lu Shu asked, staring directly at him. The Yamen staff master was momentarily confused and took a closer look in the dim light, finally realizing that this beauty was actually a man. He deceived my feelings. He was supposed to be my destined Chen Yinglian. Fang Qiang shouted in anguish. The young staff master was startled. "If you keep talking nonsense, do you believe I won't?" Lu Shu turned and raised his hand, but someone beat him to it, slapping Fang Qiang on the head. "I am Chen Yinglian. If you keep confusing who is who, do you believe I won't drag you back to feed you to wild boars?" The woman who had been standing in the corner had somehow appeared beside them. Fang Qiang stammered and didn't dare make a sound. He was too scared of being hit again. "This is Chen Yinglian," Zhang Moshan introduced. Everyone simultaneously looked at this extraordinary woman. Her build could be described as robust, with muscles bulging on her arms. It was said she had personally driven away her previous husband and remarried Fang Qiang, disregarding others' opinions. Evidently, she treated her new husband with the same iron-fisted approach. "Are these your friends?" Chen Yinglian asked Zhang Moshan. Zhang Moshan nodded and then pointed to Zhang Moyang. "This is my brother, the rest are friends." "How did you meet them?" Zhang Moyang asked quietly. He remembered tricking Fang Qiang into marrying Chen Yinglian, and now they were all here together. Chen Yinglian hadn't killed them, instead, she seemed somewhat friendly. "It's a long story," Lu Shu said with a smile. 2 days ago, Lu Shu had let Zhang Moshan experiment with cosmetics on him. He discovered the quality of the local cosmetics was subpar compared to those in Jinling. The powders were rough and expensive. He decided to check out the shops and left without even washing off his makeup. Zhang Moshan, along with the two maids, accompanied him in surveying the market. After visiting several shops, they took a shortcut back, only to be ambushed in an alley. 2 sacks were thrown over them, and the 2 maids were knocked out in the chaos. When the sacks were removed, they were already in the cellar, and as light returned, they saw Fang Qiang's large face. "Chen Yinglian," Fang Qiang gritted out through his teeth, staring at Lu Shu. "Who are you really?" "I'm Chen Yinglian," Lu Shu said, his hands bound, glancing around before shifting back against the rice bags piled like a wall. "You're still lying." Fang Qiang punched the wall behind him, sending dust flying and causing him to cough. These rice bags, I carried all of them for you." "Thanks. Can I take them with me?" Lu Shu asked. "Do you have any heart?" Fang Qiang's eyes reddened. "I was fooled by you and I ended up marrying a tigress. It's humiliating. That's not fair. There are no ugly women, only women who aren't loved by their husbands. Love her more and bring her to me, I'll give her a makeover," Lu Shu said, not forgetting to promote his business. "Love her? Look what she did to me." Fang Qiang suddenly leaned in and Lu Shu saw that it wasn't just that his face was dark, his eyes were black and blue. "Are you laughing?" "Yes, sorry," Lu Shu couldn't help but laugh. Fang Qiang got infuriated, grabbed his collar and suddenly smiled darkly. "I treated you sincerely but you didn't appreciate it. Don't blame me for forcing myself on you then. Can we at least find a better place? The environment here isn't great," Lu Shu suggested. Fang Qiang paused. "You're still picky at a time like this." "Yes, one should not mistreat oneself." Fang Qiang thought about it and agreed. Since Lu Shu couldn't escape anyway, he dragged him out of the cellar and violently took him to the bedroom, not expecting to find someone else there. The real Chen Yinglian was sharpening a knife. She looked up and saw Fang Qiang bringing in a beauty. With a sinister grin, she slammed the knife onto the table. Fang Qiang was immediately terrified but still blustered, "What are you looking at? This is none of your business. Get out." Chen Yinglian didn't move. Fang Qiang turned and took Lu Shu to another room. Just as he was about to close the door, a hand suddenly covered his mouth from behind. MMM. MMMMMMMMM. As Fang Qiang reached out to grab the person, he felt a cold blade against his neck. Don't. Let's talk this out," he exclaimed, panic-stricken. "Stretch out your hands." Fang Qiang obediently stretched out his hands, and the ropes that had bound Lu Shu fell into his grasp. It was a bit challenging to hold him hostage and tie him up simultaneously, but fortunately, someone arrived. When he opened the door, it wasn't a servant but Chen Yinglian. The two stared at each other in silence for a moment before Chen Yinglian walked in, closed the door, picked up the rope from the floor, and firmly tied Fang Qiang's hands. Confirming she was an ally, Lu Shu sheathed his dagger and said cheerfully, "Aren't you afraid he'll retaliate?" "Abducting women deserves a bad end," Chen Yinglian said, kicking Fang Qiang. "There's a misunderstanding. I'm not a woman, I'm a good man," Lu Shu said, waving his hand, feeling a bit embarrassed. Hearing this, the other two were stunned. "Impossible!" Fang Qiang shouted in horror, disbelief written all over his face. "How can you be a man? I was using my real voice earlier but you were too panicked to notice." Lu Shu cleared his throat, stepped forward to pat Fang Qiang's face and laughed. "But it's not your fault, with your brain and eyesight, it's no wonder you couldn't tell." Chen Yinglian, who also couldn't tell, ... That's how it happened. Because of a common enemy, Yinglian, and I hit it off right away. Lu Shu reminisced. Then we threw Fang Qiang into the cellar to keep him entertained. Entertained? With what? Zhang Moyang asked cautiously. Archery, pitchpot, Lu Shu smiled. Yinglian's archery is impressive, befitting a hunter, but my pitchpot skills are even better. Looking at the apple on Fang Qiang's head, which was chaotically pierced, they realized they must have used it as the pot. If Fang Qiang dared to move, the arrows could have landed anywhere on his body, which explained his trembling with fear and reluctance to make any sudden moves. "Let's talk outside," Hui Shang suggested. They all left the cellar, with Zhang Moyang checking the head count and noticed that Shen Cao was holding Lu Shu's hand and didn't let go. He whispered to Hui Shang, "Don't you think they're a bit too clingy? Something seems off." Hui Shang glanced at them indifferently and replied, "They've always been like this. It's nothing unusual." "Really?" "Yes, I'm used to it. Their friendship leaves no room for a third person," Hui Shang replied in a world-weary tone. "That's called friendship." Zhang Moyang couldn't agree. "What about Fang Qiang?" Lu Shu asked, finally remembering the issue after leaving the cellar. He had kept him there to avoid trouble when the county magistrate returned. "Lock him up for now," Shen Cao said. Lu Shu was stunned by Shen Cao's nonchalant tone, thinking, "What nonsense are you talking about? This is the Fang's residence and he's the county magistrate's precious son." To his surprise, the Yamen staff master immediately ordered Fang Qiang to be locked up. Lu Shu... He wasn't the only one who was shocked. The Zhang siblings and Chen Yinglian also displayed varying degrees of surprise at this outcome. "I borrowed soldiers from the prefect," Shen Cao explained. They finally understood and were overjoyed. Lu Shu circled him, pinching his arm and poking his face. "Did you really persuade the prefect? Are you hurt?" "No," Shen Cao replied with amusement, grabbing Lu Shu's constantly poking fingers and headed outside. "Let's go to the Yamen and deal with the bandits first." "Wait a minute." Lu Shu suddenly remembered he hadn't washed off his makeup, and after 2 days in the cellar, he was probably quite dirty. He ran to the well, washed his face clean, and then ran back, pondering how to casually slip his hand back into Shen Cao's. At that moment, Shen Cao extended his hand towards him. Lu Shu was momentarily stunned, not reacting immediately. So, Shen Cao simply grabbed his hand again and continued walking, naturally holding it. With each step, Lu Shu's face grew redder. By the time they exited the Fang's residence, his face was almost as red as a tomato. "How did you find us?" Lu Shu tried to divert his attention, asking the question that had been on his mind. "Right, I thought it was bandits who took them, worrying me to death," Zhang Moyang said, then turned to Zhang Moshan to confirm she wasn't hurt. Shen Ka replied, "Although the soldiers haven't caught the bandits yet, the frequent searches have made the bandits cautious, so they wouldn't dare commit crimes within the city at such a critical time. Since Xiao Wu intentionally led the soldiers outside the city to investigate the missing persons, he definitely wouldn't take Miss Zhang out of the city." After hearing his analysis, Zhang Moyang slapped his forehead. "Look at my brain, I immediately thought it was related to bandits." "Ah cow, you're amazing. How do you figure everything out?" Lu Shu said, his eyes sparkling. Looking into his bright eyes, Shen Cao suddenly smiled and said, "No, there are some things I haven't figured out." "Like what?" "Like I still haven't figured out when exactly I fell for you. In those simple, hard days, how many moments became interesting and vivid because of you. At first sight, it's a sudden joy, but even after a long time, my heart still races." Seeing him smile without speaking, Lu Shu started to feel a bit guilty and cautiously asked, "You didn't figure out that I snuck into your bedroom to sleep a few days ago, did you?" "Shen Cao, ... That wasn't it." Lu Shu swallowed, his expression becoming increasingly awkward. "No way, did you figure out that I also have a marriage engagement?" "Shen Cao, ... That hadn't even crossed his mind." End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 36. As they were talking, they arrived at the Yamen. The Yamen staff master quickly expressed his willingness to cooperate with Shen Cao in all actions. Shen Cao had to temporarily put aside the question about Lui Shui's marriage engagement and focus on business at hand, asking the Yamen staff master for a local map. The Yamen staff master was quite astute. Considering that Magistrate Fang had not returned since he left, and this stranger came with a handwritten letter from the prefect and soldiers, the situation was clear. It seemed that the prefect wasn't an easy person to deal with, so Magistrate Fang was either still in Huai Prefecture trying his luck or had been detained. In any case, following this young man was the most important thing for now. Even if things went wrong, it wouldn't be his fault. If things went well, he might even gain some credit. This only shows the terrain around our town. "Are there any maps of the neighboring towns?" Shen Cao asked as he reviewed the map. "This small map is all we have," the Yamen staff master replied. "Go find some people who are familiar with the surrounding and the neighboring towns' terrains," Shen Cao ordered. "The neighboring terrain?" Chen Yinglian, who had been quiet until now, suddenly spoke up. "I think I'm quite familiar with it." "Yes, she grew up hunting and has traveled countless mountains," Lu Shu immediately added. "I think I can help, too," said Hui Shang, who had traveled around for alms for years. Zhang Moyang and his sister were also locals and could provide some input. A group of people gathered around Shen Cao, describing the terrain and environment they knew. Shen Cao listened while adding lines and annotations to the existing map. Only Lu Shu couldn't help as he knew nothing about the environment here, just which shortcut to take to the gambling house. After pacing around the room, he boredly watered the flowers in the yard. A servant thanked him, saying these were Master Feng's favorite roses. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Shu uprooted the plant. The servant... When the work inside was almost done, Lu Shu went back in, eagerly listening to Shen Cao's arrangements. "We know that the two missing girls disappeared outside the city, along 2 routes passing 13 mountains. Excluding 7 low hills, there are 6 mountains left. However, 2 of these mountains are connected. According to Miss Chen, the mountain paths here are extremely steep, even hunters usually only reach halfway before turning back. Shen Cao instructed the elite soldiers he brought to guard the foot of the mountains and had the county Yamen's people search the remaining 4 mountains. Why not attack directly? Zhang Moyang asked. We have so many people. The terrain is a crucial factor. The bandits have evaded capture because they hide well and make good use of the terrain. In a narrow pass, even a small force can hold off a large army. We need to minimize losses and ensure that everyone returns safely, Shen Cao explained. This statement surprised the Yamen staff master. Over the years, he had become a seasoned opportunist, used to abusing power with the county magistrate. He had almost forgotten why he became a government official in the first place. Then what do we do after they guard the mountains? Zhang Moyang asked. Draw the snake out of its hole and infiltrate their ranks, Shen Cao said. We don't know how many of them there are or the terrain, so we need someone to infiltrate them. How do we infiltrate them? Didn't Fang Qiang already show us? Bring in a beauty, Lu Shu, who had been unable to speak earlier, finally chimed in. He sat on the table, swinging his legs. Shen Cao didn't deny it, smiling at him. A beauty. Zhang Moyang reacted, instinctively looking at his sister. Ma Shen won't be the bait. No need, I'll go, Shen Cao said. You? Are you kidding? Do you think the bandits are blind? Zhang Moyang scoffed. Xiao Wu can help me disguise. I can't, Lu Shu directly refused. You haven't heard me out. I know what you're going to say and you can't. Lu Shu got off the table, walked up to him and smirked. You know I'm the most suitable person. Besides you, no one can instantly tell I'm a man. You stay here and just like today, rescue me. I don't trust anyone else, only you. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Are you sure about this? Zhang Moyang asked. Yes. Lu Shu had 2 dogs at his feet which was raised by Zhang Moyang. He petted their heads and let them smell the sachet again. The sachet had a strong scent, causing Zhang Moyang to cover his nose. Will this work? Won't they find you too fragrant to kidnap? Better than their sweat stench, Lu Shu said, turning to Shen Cao. I'm off. Be extremely careful and prioritize your safety, Shen Cao said, his face clouded with worry. As soon as you ascertain their numbers and the terrain, immediately send the signal, I know. You've said it 800 times already, Lu Shu interrupted with a smile. Suddenly, he asked, if I manage to help you this time, does that mean I'm a useful person? You've always been useful. Then would you marry a useful person? Lu Shu pressed on. Shen Cao smiled and replied, shouldn't we first talk about your engagement issue? That's a long story. Let's focus on the task at hand. Time is running short. Lu Shu flipped his hair and after saying goodbye to everyone, left the city alone. After walking for more than 2 hours without any incident, he began to feel annoyed. The heat was unbearable, and the journey was exhausting. Finally, he arrived at the foot of the 2 connected mountains, where there was a small tea shed. He sat down weakly and ordered a pot of tea. The tea shop owner, an elderly man with a stooped back, poured him some tea and asked, Miss, where are you heading in this heat all alone? I was kicked out by my parents. I'm looking for a place to make a living, Lu Shu said with a smile, taking the tea and lifting his sleeve to cover the cup as he drank. He then smiled at the owner. The owner chuckled, such a beautiful lady, finding a place to make a living shouldn't be hard. It's not that easy. Oh, why do I feel dizzy? Lu Shu pressed his temples and slumped onto the table, appearing sleepy. Miss, what's wrong? Could it be heat stroke? The owner nervously shook Lu Shu's arm. Seeing no response, he whistled. Within moments, 4 or 5 men appeared and put Lu Shu into a sack. The owner instructed, "This woman's very pretty. Be careful not to hurt her face." The men carried Lu Shu up the mountain. One of them grumbled, "This woman is heavy. I haven't seen such a tall woman in a long time. She looks good, but I wonder if the boss will like someone so tall. We'll find out soon." Inside the sack, Lu Shu opened his eyes, carefully removed a hairpin, and poked a small hole in the sack. He then sprinkled some of the scented powder from his sachet outside. "This woman smells too good," one of the men remarked. "Beauties always smell nice," another replied with a lewd laugh. After a while, Lu Shu felt himself being put down, only to be lifted by a strong man. Through the small hole, Lu Shu saw the path become narrow and treacherous, only wide enough for one person. He heard the clinking of chains as the man carrying him grabbed onto a chain with one hand and struggled to climb. "Damn it, this woman is heavy. Someone should switch with me soon." The others laughed at his complaint. While they chatted, Lu Shu discreetly dropped an earring. They traveled along the narrow path for about 15 minutes before the terrain changed, and they took turns carrying him again. When Lu Shu heard the sounds of many people, he knew that they had reached the bandits' hideout. "The second in command is out. Lock her up first, we'll deal with her when he returns," said someone in charge. Lu Shu was thrown into a room. When the sack was finally removed, a bandit warned, "Stay put here. We'll provide food, but if you try to escape, don't blame us for being rough." Lu Shu shrank back, nodding frantically in feigned panic. After the bandit left, Lu Shu turned around and saw 3 young women huddled together in a corner, pale and too frightened to speak, staring at him. "Did they capture you, too?" Lu Shu asked. The women exchanged looks before one of them nodded. "It's a coincidence, I'm here for the same reason," Lu Shu said. "Do any of you know Yu Qiuhui?" "I am Yu Qiuhui," one of the women said weakly. "Who are you?" "I don't know you. But I know your parents." "How are they?" "They're very worried about you. They haven't eaten for days and have been looking for you." Yu Qiuhui burst into tears, burying her head and sobbing. "Why are there 3 of you here?" Lu Shu asked, frowning. "The Yamen only knows about 2 missing people." The girl who nodded earlier was braver than the others and confessed, "Actually, there were 5 of us. We 3 are orphans, so no one reported us missing. Naturally, no one knew that we've disappeared." "And the other 2? "One was sold to a brothel, and the other was taken by the second in command to meet a buyer." "A buyer? Someone who wants to buy us," the girl said, hugging her arms. "You're so pretty, you might be next." Lu Shu understood and asked, "You've been here longer. Have you learned anything about this bandit camp?" Yu Qiuhui, who was still sobbing, replied, "I've heard a bit. Originally, these bandits only stole money and crops. But recently, the second in command rebelled and injured the leader. It was him who ordered them to capture women and sell them. I heard the second in command went out." "He is?" "Yes, he went to sell another girl. The first girl was sold to a brothel by his subordinates. This time, the second in command is handling it himself, so we suspect it's to a big shot." Lu Shu recalled the conversations he overheard and went to knock on the door. "Hey, anyone out there? What is it?" The guard opened the door. "I'm hungry. It's not mealtime yet. I'm hungry. I want roast chicken." "Don't push your luck. A prisoner ordering food. When I'm hungry, my face tends to get thin, and then I won't look as good." Lu Shu looked at him innocently. Half an hour later, the guard returned, cursing as he angrily leaving left a roast chicken behind. "Damn it, I haven't had roast chicken in ages." The 3 women were dumbfounded, watching Lu Shu casually prepare to eat. One couldn't help but ask, "Aren't you afraid?" "Afraid of what?" Before they want to sell us, they'll probably treat us well. Since we're here, we might as well enjoy it. Come on, let's eat some roast chicken, Lu Shu invited. The three women stared at him for a moment, their fear slightly lessened. After hearing him say, even if we die, we should die with full stomach, they slowly moved over to join him in eating. After finishing the chicken, Lu Shu pretended to have a stomachache and asked to go to the toilet. You're so troublesome. The guard led him to the toilet. Lu Shu blatantly observed the camp. The camp was on a mountain peak, surrounded by barren land. People were scattered everywhere, some drying corn, others sharpening knives, all looking vicious. Some of the bandits had gone out with the second in command. His open surveillance drew many stares. The guard, thinking Lu Shu was trying to seduce the brothers, was infuriated. Stop pretending. Your beauty tricks won't work here. Really? Then why are you guarding the toilet door? You must want to peek. Of course not. Returning to his holding place, Lu Shu contemplated when to send the signal. It wasn't the right time yet as he didn't know their exact numbers or when the second in command would return. Besides, there were 3 hostages. He could escape alone, but taking 3 women along would be problematic. Never mind, let's eat roast chicken first. For dinner, Lu Shu ordered another roast chicken and 4 bowls of rice. The guard, ... At bedtime, Yu Kaihuai invited him, Miss, do you want to sleep with us? We can lie sideways and make room. No, absolutely not, Lu Shu replied, resolutely lying on the other side of the room with his back to them. I have someone I like. The 3 women were puzzled, not understanding the connection between liking someone and sleeping separately. Early the next morning, Lu Shu heard what seemed to be morning exercises. Through the door crack, he saw about 100 people in the courtyard. Not a small number. After thinking for a while, he suddenly came up with an idea. During lunch, he ordered roast chicken again, prompting the gatekeeper to shout angrily, "You've eaten the last 2 chickens last night. There are none left." "Really, none left? Then roast duck it is." "I heard ducks quacking yesterday," Lu Shu said. "And bring a few more jugs of wine. The sisters are not in good spirits, I'll comfort them," he added. The gatekeeper, ... The sisters, ... As they were eating, someone outside suddenly shouted, "Another woman has been caught." The gatekeeper asked in surprise, "Why another one?" "Old man Chi said this woman seems simple-minded and homeless, so we caught her to give her a home." "Bring her in then," the gatekeeper impatiently instructed. The door opened, and a freshly captured woman was thrown in. As the sack was lifted, Lu Shu saw who was inside. After the door closed, the woman glanced around, then her gaze fixed on Lu Shu. She immediately got up, picked up the bowl of wine in front of him, and took 2 sips. "I'm so thirsty. Did your sister do your makeup?" Lu Shu pinched his chin, carefully examining his face. "The skills are decent. You're a good material, indeed my disciple is good." "That's right. But look who's talking about sister," Zhang Moyang replied proudly. "Why are you here?" "The dog found the way here. Cao Shen speculated something might have delayed you or you were in danger, and that's why you haven't sent any signal. He sent me in to help." Zhang Moyang lowered his voice and looked at the 3 girls across the room. "Looks like you were really delayed. Your presence won't help much," Lu Shu said. "Don't worry, I'm not the only one who came. There's strength in numbers," Zhang Moyang said mysteriously. "What do you mean?" In the afternoon, another woman was thrown in, but this one was tall and muscular and far from beautiful. Even the gatekeeper wondered why the brothers brought her back. "This woman hunts. Unfortunately, she stumbled upon our mountain, and old man Chi said to bring her back to prevent her from discovering our hideout. Let's keep her for now, someone might like her." The original 3 girls were no longer huddling in fear. They stared at Chen Yinglian with awe. Yu Qiuhui asked quietly, "Is she also disguised by your sister?" Earlier, Lu Shu and Zhang Moyang had chatted in their original dialect for quite a while, scaring the three girls. After explaining that they were here to rescue them and capture the bandits, their faces finally regained color. "She's a genuine woman," Lu Shu said. The three women's gaze at Chen Yinglian gradually changed from surprise to admiration. Yu Qiuhui made up her mind, "If I manage survive and go back, I want to train to have a physique like hers." It felt so secure. "Why are you here, too?" Lu Shu asked Chen Yinglian. "Your friend suspected something might have happened to you because there were other girls here. He guessed the girls hadn't been harmed yet but thought it might be inconvenient for a single man like you, so he sent me to assist." Lu Shu was touched by Ah Cao's cleverness and moved by Chen Yinglian's selflessness. But then Chen Yinglian said, "People die for wealth and birds die for food. I didn't come for nothing. Your friend promised 100 tael as a reward." 100 tael. Lu Shu thought of his empty home and wondered how to fill that gap. After a moment, he had an idea and asked, "About you and Fang Qiang, are you really not blaming me? When Magistrate Fang returns, he'll probably let Fang Qiang divorce me. Then I can leave with the betrothal gifts." Chen Yinglian said, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have earned so much money in one go. I'll live comfortably for the rest of my life." Lu Shu couldn't help but laugh, "But I really owe you for this. If you have anything to ask for in the future, just find me or—" He didn't finish, thinking he would say it when he returned to the Lu family later. In the evening, another person entered the room. The gatekeeper was about to collapse. "You're bringing in so many tall women. Why did you bring a monk, too?" The one responsible for capturing people explained, "There's no other way. This monk came to beg for alms on our mountain, and even wanted to stay overnight. We can't let him go back. But don't keep him here. It's full of women. What if he has bad intentions and defile these women?" Excuse me, I'm a monk." Hui Shang couldn't help but defend himself. Sitting in the corner, Lu Shu added silently in his heart, "A monk who's ready to renounce celibacy for beauty. Nowhere else is safe. This is the only place. Please bear with us, Master, just for tonight. Second boss will be back tomorrow, and we'll see how he handles it." "All right." Over an hour later, the monk came to inquire about the situation and asked the gatekeeper, "How is it inside?" The gatekeeper replied with vacant eyes, "They're having a feast inside." End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 37. The next morning, there was quite a stir in the mountain stronghold as the second boss returned with his men. Before long, the door was pushed open, revealing a burly man standing there. He threw a woman inside and cursed, "Useless." The woman fell to the ground, crying while covering her face, trying not to make too much noise. "Oh, more new people." The second boss walked in, carefully scrutinizing the newcomers. "Why is there a monk, too?" The gatekeeper explained, "He accidentally wandered to our mountain while begging for alms." "How unfortunate." The man slapped Hui Shang's head, then turned his head and beamed at Lu Shu. "Wow, such good looks. The master should be pleased. Take her to my room, let these ugly ones stay here." Just as Lu Shu was being taken away, Zhang Moyang tried to get up but was held back by Hui Shang. As Lu Shu was dragged away from the gate, he glanced back at them with a comforting look. Among the group of captured people, he was currently the safest. The second boss room was much brighter and more spacious, with tea and water prepared. "Stay here quietly, don't run around. Your time of glory will come later," the second boss instructed. Lu Shu nodded obediently. The second boss sat at the table, staring at him for a long while. His fingers tapped incessantly on the table. After a mental struggle between heaven and earth, ultimately, the desire for wealth triumphed over beauty. He got up and left to avoid clouding his judgment and losing the valuable merchandise. When only Lu Shu was left in the room, he sat at the table and recalled what he had seen in the stronghold these past 2 days. He dipped his index finger in water from the teacup and began drawing on the table. The firewood shed was to the east of the gate, with a large courtyard in the middle. Opposite were the bandits' sleeping quarters, and the second boss room was at the far end. He could roughly infer the layout of the entire stronghold, but some areas were still unclear. "Young man, I need to use the outhouse." Lu Shu opened the door and smiled at the guards outside. There were 8 guards this time, all of whom had better temperaments than the previous one. Perhaps they knew that he could fetch a good price, so they were relatively polite to him. One of them led him out. The outhouse was in the far west corner. Lu Shu explored a new area, observing the surroundings as he walked. Suddenly, his steps hesitated. He turned his head and noticed a closed door guarded by over a dozen armed men outside. "How long are you going to keep us locked up?" Lu Shu asked pitifully to the guide. "It won't be long. Just endure a bit more. As long as you behave, the second boss won't harm you," the man said. "Can I know where I'll be taken?" Lu Shu asked. "I'm not sure about that. I'm only responsible for keeping you all safe." "Stop asking, I don't know anything. I'm just curious. With so many of you people, I can't escape anyway." "That's right. We have over 100 people in our stronghold. You few women can't escape. Even if you manage to get out of the stronghold, you may not safely get down the mountain." With a clearer idea in his mind, Lu Shu spent the day going to the outhouse several times, roughly counting the people in the stronghold. There were about 100 of them. Night fell and the people in the stronghold gathered for dinner, eating and drinking together, making quite a lively scene. After drinking several jugs of wine, the second boss habitually returned to his room. Upon entering, he noticed the untouched food on the table and asked, "Why aren't you eating?" "My stomach hurts," Lu Shu said, clutching his stomach, looking pained. "I need to go to the outhouse." "Why did your stomach suddenly ache?" "I'm probably not used to the food and water here." The second boss looked at his sweaty forehead and pale face. It didn't seem like he was faking it. He waved his hand, letting the guards take him to the outhouse, then returned to the dining table. After walking for a while, Lu Shu suddenly fell to the ground, then struggled to get up, holding a few pebbles in his hand. As he passed a certain place, he stopped, looked up at the stars at a 45-degree angle and said sadly, "The merriment belongs to others." Indeed, the guide glanced towards the direction where everyone was eating. Due to the need to keep watch, he couldn't eat and drink with them. At that moment, a pebble accurately hit the window of a certain room. "Let's move." Zhang Moyang got up from the ground and pulled out a few bottles of wine from the firewood pile. These were the wine that Lu Shu had ordered every time, but secretly kept. Zhang Moyang poured the wine through the window crack, where a pile of dry firewood was stacked outside. Chen Yinglian rubbed 2 wooden sticks together continuously. Having spent years hunting outdoors, she was adept at making fire by friction. Soon, sparks appeared. Zhang Moyang swiftly ignited the dry leaves and gestured to Hui Shang. He then threw the leaves onto the window. With a bang, flames ignited instantly. Hui Shang protected several girls near the door, banging on it frantically, "Help! There's a fire!" The gatekeeper immediately opened the door. Upon seeing the firelight at the window, he became alarmed and hastily called for help to extinguish the fire, rushing to rescue the people inside. "It seems something happened over there," Lu Shu asked. The guard watching him also heard the commotion and was startled, looking in that direction. Suddenly, someone grabbed him by the neck, slammed him hard against the wall and he instantly passed out. With everyone busy fighting the fire, Lu Shu swiftly retrieved a signal arrow from his boot. It briefly lit up with a faint glow in the air which could easily be overlooked. Next, he dragged the guard into a dark corner, exchanged clothes with him, dirted his face, and slipped into the kitchen to get a fire starter. Carrying several jugs of wine, he sneaked into the bandits' sleeping quarters. Just as everyone finished extinguishing the fire in the firewood shed, they turned around and saw that the sleeping quarters were ablaze. Calls for help intensified as they rushed to fight the fire. The second boss suddenly realized that this wasn't an accidental fire but deliberate arson. His face changed color and he hurriedly ran to the warehouse. Kicking open the door, he found it intact with no intruders. He immediately ordered, "Gather some men and search nearby for any suspicious individuals." The guards scattered to search the surroundings. A moment later, one rushed back with his head bowed and quickly reported, "Second boss, the woman locked in your room is missing." "What?" The second master's expression changed dramatically. Furious, he rushed back to his room. At the door, the two figures passed by each other. The newcomer slowly smirked, closed the warehouse door, and surveyed the packed warehouse which was mostly filled with crops. After searching around, he finally dug out a box hidden under a pile of corn. Unfortunately, it was locked. "No big deal," Lu Shu sneered. For a while, his mother confined him to the house as punishment for wandering outside. During this time, he found joy in learning to pick locks, a skill he learned that his mother still didn't know about. After opening the box, it revealed gold, silver, and jewelry. Suddenly, footsteps approached outside and the door was kicked open. He picked up his slingshot and aimed it at the person entering, only to find an arrow pointed at him. They both released their grips simultaneously. Lu Shu waved, "Perfect timing. Take a look at these things. Take whatever you want, and consider the 100 taels reward settled." Chen Yinglian walked in, smiling happily. "You're even more obsessed with money than me. Even at this moment, you didn't forget about the thieves' money." "I have no choice. I'm poor," Lu Shu replied, stuffing items into his clothes. Suddenly, he paused and saw something familiar. It was an amber pendant, with a rare shape inside, resembling a willow tree sketched with a few strokes. It was the only one of its kind in the world, his personal belonging. At that time, when he was alone and robbed by a group of bandits, he deliberately kept this amber, thinking that if the bandits took it to the market, his parents could use it as a clue to find him. Unexpectedly, these bandits still kept this piece of amber which was now returning to its rightful owner. "How are Zhang Moyang and Hui Shang doing?" Lu Shu asked. "They're protecting those girls, pretending to be innocent. I took advantage of the chaos to search the thieves' treasury," Chen Yinglian replied. "Do you still have your bao?" "Just this one, but I can take some from others." "That's convenient. Just as I thought." The two of them hurried to leave, and before departing, Lu Shu didn't forget to set a large fire at this spot. ******. Upon returning to his room, the second boss discovered that the beauty was indeed missing. Enraged, he slammed his palm on the table and was about to order a search when news arrived that the warehouse was also on fire. The warehouse was crucial to them, and now everyone was frantic to put out that fire. "It must be that woman who's playing tricks. Capture her or anyone else involved, dead or alive," the second boss roared in anger. Only 2 or 3 people who had escorted them away from the firewood shed earlier remained, the rest had gone to fight the fire. Now realizing the women seemed to be attempting to escape, they went to apprehend them. Just as they were about to reach them, an arrow suddenly struck an arm. Lu Shu and Chen Yinglian rushed back. "Hurry, let's go." The several girls were escorted down the mountain by Zhang Moyang and Hui Shang, with the other two providing cover. Fearful yet determined, they ran ahead, unwilling to burden others. Suddenly, a large group of people appeared ahead, startling them. But they soon realized these were government officials, and relief swept over them as they tearfully shouted, "There are still 2 people up there, please save them." "Is Xiao Wu and Miss Chen still up there?" Shen Cao asked after counting the people. "Yes, hurry, I'll take you up," Hui Shang said. Shen Cao nodded and instructed Zhang Moyang to escort the girls back safely while he continued upwards with the others. As they watched the fire grow brighter, their worry deepened. The group swiftly surrounded the summit. The bandits, exhausted from fighting the fire for nearly an hour, were now surrounded by soldiers. Their will to resist was greatly diminished, and they surrendered without further struggle. After tying up all these people, there were still some lingering flames in the stronghold. Shen Cao ordered another group to put them out to prevent them from spreading into the forest. "Where's Xiao Wu?" He scanned the tied-up individuals but didn't find Lu Shu. "Hey, it seems the second boss isn't here either," Zhang Moyang suddenly said. "Xiao Wu was locked in the second boss room today. Could he have been found out?" Shen Cao's face turned pale. He immediately instructed Zhang Moyang to lead the way to the second boss room, where they found the second boss with an arrow wound. Just as Shen Cao was about to ask questions, Hui Shang shouted from outside, "There's a charred body here." He rushed out and saw a person in red clothing lying in a dark corner in the distance. He ran over immediately but stopped abruptly when he was about to approach. He walked heavily toward the body. The body was face down in the dirt. Shen Cao didn't even have the strength to lift him up. "Is it Xiao Wu?" Zhang Moyang heard his hoarse voice and froze, then turned to see his eyes reddening. Not knowing what he was thinking, Zhang Moyang nodded in affirmation. Shen Cao froze in place, his body slowly bending, hands clutching his knees to steady himself. Tears welled up in his eyes, a sensation of something being forcibly pulled from his body, leaving him. There was a cacophony around him, soldiers cleaning up with Hui Shang and Zhang Moyang whispering to each other, but he didn't want to care about any of it anymore. His vision blurred, he looked up at the body, slowly reaching out his hand. He faintly heard the person still shouting, "Ah Cao! Ah Cao! Ah Cao!" Shen Cao's finger twitched slightly. It didn't seem to be just his imagination. He turned around and saw Lu Shu with his back to the firelight, hands full of gold and silver jewelry, a victorious smile on his face. He ran towards him. "Look what I found. The second boss actually has a cellar in his room, hiding private money. Luckily, I found it." The gold and silver jewelry in his hands clinked crisply. He stopped in front of Shen Cao, his smile suddenly freezing. "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" Shen Cao stared at him without blinking. Lu Shu turned to Zhang Moyang. "What's wrong with him?" "He thought that was your body." Zhang Moyang pointed to the person on the ground, grinning mischievously. "He's almost cried to death. I see that he cares about you, too." Lu Shu looked at the charred body on the ground. "Did you guys trick him?" "I only said there was a body here," Hui Shang said, then turned to the instigator. "I just wanted to test his feelings for you," Zhang Moyang said. "Get lost. Go use yourself to try." Lu Shu kicked Zhang Moyang several times, then handed the jewelry in his hand to Hui Shang and finally held Shen Cao's face with both hands, wiping away his tears. He felt heartbroken. "It's okay, this guy is lying to you. We mature men keep our promises. We agreed that I'll wait for you to save me. You didn't come, so how would I dare to die?" Suddenly, a hurried and stiff kiss fell on his lips. Amidst the noise around them, people fighting fires, grown men begging for mercy, people coming and going hastily, the couple moved in the direction of loving each other fiercely. End chapter.